Hello, welcome to Dungeon Dwellers Podcast. I'm your host Justin. Today we're reviewing Retro Rocket issues 1 through 4, written by Tony Bedard, art by Jason Orfalas. I think that's how you pronounce. No, sorry, Orfalas. My bad. But yeah, this is a 4-issue mini-series. This is our 12th review for Image Month. We only have 3 more to go. I found out actually this morning that Top Cow is owned by Image, so it's like I have Wanted. I could review that for Image Month. But I only I had 15 books I was planning on reviewing for Image Month, so it's like 15 is a nicer number than 16, you know what I mean? So it's like, 16 comes off random. 15 was planned, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. If you guys want me to review Wanted by Mark Millar and what's his name, J.G. Jones, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I don't want to review it, to be honest, because it's just, I mean, it's a good graphic novel. It's just that I'm just not in the mood to read it. You know what I mean? So it's because I just read Jupiter's Legacy, which is I'm not really in the mood to read another Mark Millar book. You know what I mean? All right. So this book, it's hard to explain what genre this is, because it very much feels like it reminded me of Exo Squad, but Exo Squad, I'm talking about the 90s cartoon. I don't know what decade that took it was made, but yeah, it was like Westerners trying to do a mecha series, right? Like something like a Gundam, or something along those lines, where you have the main character of this book, Retro Rocket. He's a soldier who volunteered to put his brain into a robot, and the robot is a very cool looking robot. It very much has that it has like a 50s style to it, but it has that super robot feel to it. But yeah, he volunteered to do that. 50 years later, he's still in the army. They have more advanced mecha that everybody pilots, which I really hate it when the term mecha is used ever in a series or anything, because it's just that's a Japanese term. It just comes off very weebish, in my opinion. They don't call, in Gundam, they don't call, all my favorite mecha series, they don't call their robots mecha. They come up with a term. Some series, it's mobile, in Gundam it's mobile suits. In Evangelion, it's the Evas. You had in Code Geass, they're Nightmare Frames. And I'm blanking on other names for different mecha from different mecha series, but it's they always come with a term, right? They don't just use mecha. That's a generic term that people use, right? It's like a fandom term. It just sounds so dumb when it's used. But yeah, you have this guy who's basically he's been stuck in this robot body for decades, and he feels useless, he's not he's out of touch, out of date with what's going on. He doesn't get along so well with the other pilots. There's a mission where him and a squadron goes out to fight eco-terrorists who have commandeered labor mechs. That's the term they use, which they jerry rigged to make them military Like they just like added like weapons onto their mechs. So like he kind of messes up that mission, right? And he gets introduced to the niece of his like. After that, he's introduced to the niece of his like what do they call it? Grease jockey? I can't. Yeah, grease monkey. Yeah. And like like they don't get along. He walks into on her in the shower, but right after that, turns out aliens show up. Aliens show up. They try, and there's this great battle. Our hero joins the battle. They get wiped out their military forces get wiped out by the aliens, because the aliens pretty much just scan their robots to figure out what their weaknesses and just uses like an EMP on them. But it's not exactly EMP, it's like EMP specifically to like disable cold fusion reactors. So after that, Retro retreats. Well, at first he goes to the garage to get, re-equipped with new weapons and shit, right? Turns out, some debris falls on his mechanic that he's had for like, I think it was like 20 years or something like that. And he tells him, hey, I'm a goner, go save my daughter, my niece, who is his new mechanic. Right? The battle's lost. So he does that. They go into hiding into a mine. Eventually they capture an enemy mech to interrogate the alien pilot. There's like an entire issue where they're just bullshitting with this pilot. You learn Retro's like backstory. What ends up happening is that it turns out the alien had a augmentation in his head that was sending out signals. So his compatriots go in to rescue him, even though they the mine was keeping them. The mine was keeping them from being scanned by the aliens, right? Because they were scanning the surface of the planet. But somehow, the mines didn't block out the signal from this guy's brain. Okay. That was emitting from the guy's brain. Alright. I guess that makes sense. I don't know how radio waves work. But, yeah. So they get captured. Retro gets interrogated by the alien leader. It turns out the alien leader needs Retro Rocket's help because this alien race, for God knows how long, have been keeping themselves immortal by conquering planets and stealing their bodies and putting their, not brains, but like they put like an implant on their brains, and then like they have like their minds are stored into a heart mainframe, and they just stream their like consciousness into people's bodies, right? But they're having trouble augmenting humans and streaming their consciousness into their bodies. So they need Retro Rocket's help for some reason, because he's like the first man, because he's like the first man mech, even though they said like there were other man mechs, but I guess he's the only one around right now. They need his help, so he decides to betray them by killing himself. Doesn't work out because his girlfriend, mechanic, which they're not dating, but it's like whatever, right? They're goes to rescue him. The pilot that they had like captured is now betraying his people and is helping them go and to destroy the mainframe to kill the aliens, right? So that's the story. Let's go to the positives. One, I thought the story, was all right, and I really liked the Retro Rocket's character design. but the art itself is pretty. It's pretty bad. Like the character designs are really shitty wannabe anime style. Like I drew like better anime characters when I was in fucking grade school than these assholes. The art style is just fucking atrocious, dude. You have people on fucking like DeviantArt that could draw better anime characters than these guys, and these are like professionals in the comic book industry. It's just so bad, and there was odd, like at times it looked like when there's like big battles, it looked like they were like that the robots were like CGI models that they just drew over, and then they were copying and pasting the mechs in like big shots where you see like a lot of them. Yeah, like the art is just bad, and the dialogue is very bad as well. Like if you thought James Cameron's like Avatar's dialogue was bad with the jargon that the Marines use and shit, it's a lot worse in here, especially with the one like Global Defense Commander's like dialogue where he's like, if these aliens had showed up with a 6-pack of beer, I would be cooking up their steaks by myself. But no, they blew up 2 of our planes. Now it's time to kick ass, right? It was like it was really bad dialogue. It was atrocious, and then you have the bad art. At most, I'm giving this like a 5.5 out of 10. But I really like the Retro Rocket character's design, and they do sequel bait, but from what I could tell, there was no sequel. Kind of like with the Pact, where they sequel bait, and there was no like sequel, which sucked because the Pact, I would have liked to read more comic books with the Pact, but like yeah, that never happened, and this never happened. Here it never happened either, but like I don't know. If I was Image, I would take the character of Retro Rocket and just take it from these shitty writers and artists and like put him like reboot the series, because like they have like a robot character in their like Image universe. I think it's called Atomic Robo or something, and like its design looks like shit compared to Retro Rocket. If I were them, I would say fuck Atomic Robo. Here's Retro Rocket. Make more series out of that. Incorporate him into the Image universe, because he's a way cooler character, than like Atomic Robo, which I never read, but I'm basing that off the design. So yeah, it's a 5.5. Our next review is going to be, because this was we're gonna review. That was my Vita falling on the floor. We're gonna review Bloodstrike Brutalists next for Image Month. All right, later, people.